Well, howdy ho. So, we made a huge accomplishment with the old Raptor. I got no fuel tank, and I don't know if there's enough fuel in it to run it. Oh, look, she runs. Here's the issue. We ain't got no oil flow. And I've been beating my head against the wall trying to figure this out for the last couple of days. So I haven't posted a video. Everything else is working fine. Just there's no oil flow. And it's the point where I attempted to get oil to the top end of the motor so much that I'm afraid that I might have damaged the cylinder and or the piston. But I don't know. I tried a few different methods. I got oil up to the filter, but it's not coming out the upper oil tubes. I downloaded the service manual for it, so I know the flow direction and all the different things and where everything is. It's kind of like playing a video game without, the strategy guide and all that, and beating the game, and then you get the strategy guide and a bunch of cheat codes. The little bit of oil on the floor is not leaking. It's for me trying to get oil to the top end. First thing I did was when I unscrewed the oil filter a little bit to see if I had oil there. There's some drippage. I went so far as to tip the four-wheeler up on its side, take the oil filter off, pour some oil down through the hole to try to prime the oil pump. What I am afraid that is wrong with this is the fact that I didn't even think about that there's a pickup screen for the oil pickup on the bottom of the motor. The screen in the oil tank was completely plugged up. I cleaned that out really good. And then somebody had mentioned that if that one was that plugged up, then the one in the bottom of the case is probably plugged up. So my fear is that I'm going to have to pull this all back apart, take the motor out, split the case, just to clean that screen. So my next step is I'm going to check and see, because another possibility is that there's not any oil getting into the bottom end of the motor to even be picked up. But I poured some oil on the advice of someone, took off the inspection cover here, and dumped a quart of oil in there to get it into the motor itself. And so that in turn would drain to the bottom of the motor. So there's got to be oil down there. I don't know what the oil pumping situation was prior to it blowing up. So, it's just a pain in my ass. I think what's going to happen is I've got that niche cylinder on there and the niche piston in there. I think what's going to wind up happening is I'm just going to order a Wiseco piston, because I already have a cylinder that's good for the Wiseco. There's nothing wrong with the cylinder. The cylinder was good. It's a little oily. These aren't grooves in there. It's just from having the piston rings in there and stuff. So it's just oily marks. So I think I'm going to do is I'm going to run this cylinder with a Wiseco piston. So just order the piston that was in there before. And that's if the cylinder's torn up. Because I'm afraid that that's what's happening right now. Because it sounds pretty rough. When it shuts down, it just stops. It doesn't like pa. It just wants to stop. So, I got bad advice from somebody else, was to run it for like 5 minutes. And I don't know. Somebody else was like, that's a horrible idea, after it already done it. So, I don't know. Like, it's kind of irritating, but it is what it is. can't really help it. It runs. If it's possible, but I mean, I don't know how possible that is. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the plug on the bottom here. I don't know if I'm pointing at the right thing. Right there. Pull the plug. I'm gonna drain the oil into a container and see what it looks like, because I did a complete drain on this when I took it apart, and it drained out a lot of oil. This thing was like overloaded with oil. It was way more than 2.5 quarts, I'll tell you that right now. So I don't know if maybe there was a flow issue before and I just didn't know, but it was overfilled with oil to compensate for it. Overfilling with oil would be a bad thing, but at this point I don't know what to do. There's 2.5 quarts. Actually, I mean, I guess from spillage, I really don't know, but I poured the other 1/2 quart in there, so just wanted to lubricate stuff, get some oil up in there. But probably pop off that lower line right here and see what the situation is. It's possible that that's plugged up again. Now, here's the thing. Somebody told me to pressurize the oil tank to push oil into the motor. Now, the oil level in the tank has never gone lower than where it's at now. So I'm curious as to if that lower line is just, if there's something in it. Because I don't believe I pulled that line off and blew air through it. I don't remember though. I feel like I did, but I don't know. I don't know that if I blew air through this line up to the tank. So there's also that. I think I'm gonna, because every other time I kind of jumped ahead of the game and I did things that I didn't need to do before I needed to do them. Like the keyway was bad and I wound up resetting the timing, and it wasn't the timing, it was the keyway that was bad. So I jumped the gun on that. So I don't know that I want to jump the gun on this. I'm going to try every possible thing I can before tearing this motor apart again. Because at this rate, I'll never even be riding this thing this summer. At this rate, I'll have to buy another 4-wheeler just to be able to ride this summer. I've been riding the damn kids' 4-wheeler. So, I don't know. If I could find a deal on a 450 or something. Maybe something that the old lady can ride next year when she's not pregnant, or even later on this year if I get this thing running. Because, like, I mean, I got 2 snowmobiles. I only got 1 ass. I mean, I do ride both of those. It just depends on what I want to do. Because that needs carbides. And the grip on here, the warmer needs to be replaced. I definitely need to put a windshield on there, because it's a little cold when riding without that windshield. This guy over here, it's got new carbides but doesn't have no studs on the track. So this one goes, but it can't steer. This one steers, but it doesn't go very good when it's icy. So, I don't know. But I just want to ride, damn it. And I can't. And like, one of my issues is that in this process, what they told me to do was to take this line here off of the intake, or off the valve cover that goes into the oil tank, and push air into there. That's what I did, but it just comes out the case vent and everything. I don't know if that's normal or not. Possibly could be. I don't know. But then when I pull the return line off, push air into here and hold my finger over the hole, this tank pressurizes, but oil doesn't go anywhere. So I clean the shit out of that screen that's on the end of this hose that's in the bottom of the tank. So I don't know. Maybe I need to check it again. Maybe I need to pull both these lines off, check them. I don't know. I'm hoping that it's not the screen in the bottom of the case. Like, I'm hoping that I find something I'm like, oh, that's a problem. I really don't want to pull the side cover off again and wind up having to drain this oil, because I don't even have any hours on this oil. It might be to the point where I drain the oil into a clean container and just reuse it. Maybe drain it through a coffee filter. I don't know. It's not got any time on it. It's fresh, brand new oil. And it's AMS oil too, so I don't want to waste the good oil. Wham! That's what we're running. And then I screwed up and got the orange stuff, but they said to get the green stuff. I mean, coolant's coolant, I guess, right? What's the diff? We painted the exhaust black. It's covered in mud, baked on mud. The muffler is definitely black. I think it looks good, but that's really all it's doing right now is looking good. And I think for shits and giggles, once I do finally get it running, I am probably going to do the yellow fur on the seat, just because. Because why not? Fuck it. Gotta be different. So, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just ready to ride. Like, but I've been trying to take my time on it so I don't fuck shit up. Because I messed it up before. And this time, I mean, even with the clutch cable, you know, I made sure that I got the bracketry to hold the cable where it should be so it's not touching the exhaust. I have to mount it down here because there's another mounting hole right there that's supposed to hold a strap that holds the clutch cable over against the cylinder. And you can kind of see right there where this is a cylinder from somebody else, but you can see where the clutch cable was against there and rubbing, so that's where it's supposed to be, so it doesn't mess it up. So we got that new clutch cable. I really don't want to mess that up. I don't know. I did, however, when I got into the oil tank and cleaned out that screen, I got a whole ass load of shavings out of there. And I think they are from, I'm not sure though exactly what they're from. But I think they're from like the starter clutch that went bad in there before. I think the oil or the shavings made their way up into the oil tank. So if that's the case, the bottom end of this thing could be plugged up with shavings too. So I don't know. It's gonna be a nice amount of work. But you know what? I've ridden it. I've got the fucking itch. It's well worth the work. It's worth the time, and it's worth the money to put in it. Like, I hate to say it, but like, I'm almost to the point where like I'd almost be willing to drop a new motor in this thing and then rebuild this one to have a spare motor. Like, I'm almost at that point. But I mean, when we're talking new motor, we're talking new to me motor. I'm not exactly sure what the price is on a new motor. I know the price on a used motor is like $1,500. So I'm not sure how much it would cost for a built motor. Maybe I'd have to see. So I don't know. See what somebody would charge for a rebuilt motor. Somebody who actually does this kind of stuff. I don't know if I want to go that far though. Because I've gotten this all the way down to the case. So how much further would it wouldn't be that much work. Much more work to split the case on this thing. And you know, at that point, if I'm going to do that, I might as well finish the rebuild and, you know, replace all the seals and everything in there. So why not, right? I don't know. Like, I was excited because when I put it back together, I'm like, all right, I got to put oil in it, coolant in it, and then start it up after putting the tank on. And I was so excited that it started right up. Like, it didn't give me no shit at all. It started right up. Like, there was no, no, it just fired right up. So, the only problem is it's got no oil. I mean, it's got oil, but it's got no oil to where it needs to be, and it's not flowing. So, that's an issue. But I also read on a forum that a guy said that he had one metal shaving that was stuck in one of the lines, and it was blocking flow. But here's the thing: I blew air through all of the lines that are out here. So, and also into the holes on the case. But then also somebody had mentioned that let's see here, in the side of the clutch cover there's a check valve, and in inspecting that prior to me, somebody nicked the O-ring on that. So honestly, the check valve could be stuck, and that might be the problem. I don't know. But I was thinking about replacing the side cover anyways, because on the inside here, you can see all kinds of stress fractures on the inside of the side cover. But it wasn't leaking, so I figured we'd put it back on there. But at this point, it might need to come back off of there. I don't know. So, the fact that I see a little bit of oil on that banjo fitting back there, I don't know. I blew air through that. That had good flow. We checked up here where we're supposed to check and see if there's oil flow, and there's none. So, oops. I dropped you. Then we zoomed in. So, I mean, I went as far as to take the oil filter off, pour oil directly into there to prime the pump. Air quotes. I don't know if that's even a thing. The only reason I'm trying to prime the pump is because people say that you have to prime the pump. But it makes sense, but the pump's low enough where I don't think it'd be a problem. But like, if you're trying to pump water and you got the pump uphill and the water's downhill, and then you're pumping it up the higher hill, then you would have to fill that tube with water because it's not going to suck air before, or it's not going to suck the air before it gets the water. So, in theory, whatever, but I'm pretty sure by the diagrams that the oil pump is right here. That's the oil pump behind there. Oil pump. So, after I check my lines, I'm going to most likely pull this side cover off, check the oil pump, and then see if I can't somehow access the pickup through this side cover. Because if the oil pump is right there, then the pickup has to be somewhere in here. So if I can access it through the side cover, maybe I can get in there and somehow clean it without having to tear it apart. That's wishful thinking. So, like, I don't know, there's a lot of, you got an oil filter, you got a screen, like there's so many fucking screens and filters on this thing. It's obnoxious. So, alright, we're about to 20 minutes. I really didn't want to do a 20-minute video. It's just going to be a short little update. I may not sound aggravated, but I am aggravated. Because I was hoping to be riding this week. But if I go riding, then it's not got oil. I wind up seasoning it up, and then it's no good. So, just be even harder to fix it. So, with that being said, I'm going to go back in the house. Got an early morning tomorrow, long day. I'll watch some TV, crash out, and then there won't be another update until the next time we'll be able to touch this is probably this coming up weekend. So maybe I'll figure something out, because tomorrow I got a full day of work. Then I got a couple more full days of work, and then I think we got something going on Friday. So then the next time is like Saturday before I can even think about touching this thing. So, but the exciting thing is we got it off of the sawhorses. So the bad part is you got no oil flow. That's just shitty. So, alrighty. Until next time, keep it classy.